Sakai is a hopeless loser who doesn't believe in love because he can't bag a girlfriend. However, everything changes when his two childhood friends fall in love with him and start competing for the honor of clapping him. The story begins with Sakai living out his greatest fantasy in a dream, happily dating his childhood friends because that is the only universe where he is not a certified loser. In this dream world, he is the protagonist of a sweet, bubbly rom-com where everything goes his way and embarrassment simply does not exist. Unfortunately for him, reality crashes the party harder than Truckhuan on a bad day, when he is pulled out of his dream by an icy breeze brushing his face, courtesy of a window left wide open by one of his childhood friends, Shio. Instantly awake and already irritated, Sakai starts scolding her for sneaking into his room. He is fully committed to the lecture until Shio casually stretches out from under the duvet, as if she owns the place. The sudden sight fries his brain completely, causing his thoughts to scatter in every direction at once. Before he can recover, Shio pulls him close, and the pressure alone makes Sakai forget how breathing works. But he forces himself back to reality by forcibly pinching Shio's mouth to wake her up. His mind immediately jumps to a soapy K-drama scenario, complete with dramatic music and slow motion. Shio rubs her eyes and immediately starts cursing like Sakai personally ruined her life until she realizes she is in his room. She blames him for not locking the window, which apparently was an open invitation for her ninja skills. Sakai tries to defend himself, pointing out that she broke in like a thief, which earns him zero sympathy. After a stern scolding, he tells her to leave, and she obeys without hesitation, but of course, she wants to go through the window because front doors are for ordinary mortals. Midway through her exit, her clothing budget maxes out, and Sakai's brain freezes like a glitching video game. He finally recovers and points it out, leaving her flustered, while he turns away, thinking about how absurd it is that they have lived next to each other since birth without dying from embarrassment. Later on, his thoughts keep returning to the wardrobe incident, and as he sets out for school, he bumps into Shio, who grabs his hand and rubs it against her orange farm. He tries to push her away, but she holds on harder, forcing his spirit into early retirement. She ignores his panic like he is a useless piece of wood, leaving Sakai completely mortified and questioning every choice that brought him to this moment. On their way to school, Shio refuses to let go, gripping Sakai like a python on steroids and making him question every life choice that led to this moment. He wonders how horrified she would be if she ever discovered the absolutely chaotic thoughts he has about her and decides that secret is going straight to the grave. Meanwhile, Shio is spiraling too, frustrated that all her aggressive orange wiggling and careful teasing has barely made a dent in his composure. She swears silently to make him fall for her, even if it takes the end of the universe. Suddenly, she trips spectacularly and drags Sakai down with her, pressing his face directly into her orange farm. It's clearly part of a devious plan she learned from reading way too many how to seduce your childhood friend manuals. She pretends to be shocked, scolding him, but is secretly thrilled that her trap worked. Sakai, completely unbothered, brushes her off like she is a piece of trash and tells her to keep moving. Shio, now desperate, reveals her cute girl ammunition, claiming a sprained ankle. Sakai simply pulls out a first aid kit, explaining he has carried it since childhood thanks to her reckless window climbing, making Shio flustered a few minutes into their walk. Sakai and Shio suddenly slam the brakes at an intersection, realizing that holding hands in public might cause instant social death. After an intense internal struggle that feels way more dramatic than necessary, they decide to keep going anyway. That confidence lasts exactly 5 seconds, because the moment Shio upgrades the hand-holding to finger-locking, Sakai nearly malfunctions mid-step. Just as things start drifting into rom-com territory, reality throws another obstacle with a loud thud behind them. They turn around and discover Akari, their childhood friend, staring like she just unlocked a forbidden zone. They panic and start firing excuses simultaneously. Akari laughs it off and tries to find her phone, suspiciously shaking the entire time. Sakai tries to explain, but Akari snaps at him, and as she storms off, Sakai accidentally commits yet another unforgivable mistake, earning him a bag straight to the face. After Shio explains the situation and Sakai concurs, Akari cools down and leaves them with a warning. However, Sakai and Shio misunderstand each other due to their similar excuses. Deep down, Shio thinks she was the only one overreacting about the hand-holding, but unknown to her, Sakai is also thinking the same. Meanwhile, when she is alone, Akari collapses, still trembling from her interaction with Shio and Sakai. Apparently, she also has hidden feelings for Sakai, and she panicked when she saw him holding hands with Shio. She wants to make a move before Shio pulls one over on her, but Akari wonders why she is always mean when she sees Sakai. She recalls Sakai's hands on her orange farm, making her wonder if he prefers larger oranges like Shio's. The thought makes her angry, and she vows to convince him that hers are better. Elsewhere, Shio also vows to make Sakai lose control over her, while Sakai vows to take his creepy thoughts to the grave. Later that day, Sakai and Akari are seen in class fighting over juice, drinking the same juice. Though they have been friends since childhood, they never see eye to eye on anything. Shio soon enters the class to stop them from bickering, but they ignore her until someone calls Shio away for class rep duties. Despite warning them to play nice, they continue to bicker the moment Shio leaves the classroom. When they were young, Akari used to follow Sakai around, and they were very close to each other. While watching Akari by the window, Sakai wonders why they have drifted apart, and it makes him want to fix things between them, but when she turns around, they continue bickering, making Sakai change his mind about fixing things. Deep down, Akari also beats herself up for acting like a moron around him. Akari has always gone out of her way to get Sakai's attention, glamming up, working hard to get into his school, and even buying the same juice as him just to start a conversation. Yet she can't resist snapping at him for no reason. As they prepare to drink their juices at the same time, their usual bickering kicks in. Sakai suddenly realizes they had switched drinks earlier, but before he can stop her, Akari takes a sip. Horrified at this indirect kiss, her soul practically leaves her body. Sakai tries to calm her down, but Akari turns the situation into an excuse to tease him, leaving him utterly embarrassed. She drags things further by calling him a virgin and enjoys his misery while struggling to maintain a calm face deep down. Before long, they both start cursing at each other and arguing about who has more experience in that area. Sakai then claims he can lock lips with his eyes closed, prompting Akari to dare him to show her. She claims it is only a dare, but deep down, Akari is trembling like a fish out of water while pretending to be headstrong. Moments later, they both head to a private place under the stairs to carry out the dare, but Sakai can't seem to muster the courage. Akari continues to tease him while also trembling, but when he asks her about it, she claims that she is preparing for a royal rumble, leaving him shocked. He then asks if she has done it before, but Akari brushes off his question by calling him a wuss for wasting so much time. Seeing that she seems to be serious about the kiss, Sakai finally confesses that he has never locked lips with anyone before. Akari is thrilled by the news and tries to claim Sakai's first time for herself, moving things toward what could have been his ultimate rom-com fantasy. Suddenly, Shio interrupts, leaving Sakai panicking, fearing a messy Love Island-style drama. But instead of escalating things, Shio calmly pulls a loose thread of hair from his face, acting completely oblivious. Akari attempts to quietly back away, only to trip on a stick, exposing her cute SpongeBob underwear. Shio quickly covers Sakai's eyes, but he bursts out laughing at Akari, leaving her mortified. Infuriated, Akari lunges at him, punching him while scolding him for being a creep. Meanwhile, Shio is internally spiraling over what she saw earlier, realizing she needs to be careful so Akari doesn't steal her thunder. Sakai's friends pester him about how he managed to get close to the two cutest girls in class. Frustrated, he blurts out that he can't see them as women, just as Shio walks in and hears everything. Flustered but pretending nothing happened, Shio jumps onto him, claiming they will always be childhood friends. Sakai struggles to push her off, but she refuses, even taking his workbook before he scolds her for causing rumors. Ignoring his protests, Shio sits on his lap to do her homework, rocking her hips and drawing the class's attention. His friends warn Shio against someone unstable like Sakai, but she explains their long history and keeps teasing him, having discovered his weak spot. The situation escalates when Akari arrives, accusing Sakai of taking advantage of Shio. She tries to intervene, but Shio insists on finishing her homework that way. Akari eventually joins in, turning it into a playful shimmy contest, each girl trying to outdo the other and sending Sakai to comedic heights of embarrassment. The following day, Sakai boards a bus, still drowning in thoughts about his painfully confusing situationship with his childhood friends. As fate would have it, he suddenly bumps into a beautiful girl, and to his absolute shock, it turns out to be Shio. To make things even more suspicious, she is heading to the exact same bakery as him. Sakai tries his best to ignore her existence, but Shio's stunning appearance nearly sends his heart into cardiac arrest. Before he can mentally recover, the bus hits a sudden bump, causing Shio to lose her balance and fall straight into his arms, smashing him with her plot cushions. As if that wasn't enough emotional damage, Shio wraps her arms around him, making Sakai forget how breathing works. Shio then begins rubbing his ear, claiming she is doing it to help relieve his motion sickness. Desperate to hide his very obvious reaction, Sakai suddenly slumps onto Shio's shoulder and mutters that he just wants to rest. Despite his frantic attempts to stay calm, his heart refuses to cooperate, pounding like it is trying to escape his chest. He quickly pulls away, only to notice that Shio looks even more shaken than he is. Embarrassed, Shio turns away, while Sakai silently presses the stop button. After alighting from the bus, Shio starts to panic, wondering if Sakai has finally seen through her true feelings. However, instead of confronting her, Sakai hands her a drink, explaining that it is for her motion sickness. It turns out he completely misunderstood her trembling and stopped the bus early just for her sake. Although relieved that her secret remains safe, Shio can't help but feel a little disappointed by his legendary cluelessness. After taking a sip of the drink, she gently rests her head on Sakai's shoulder, quietly hoping that one day they will move past this painfully awkward stage. While Shio savors the sweet moment, Sakai trembles like a fish out of water and ends up spilling his drink all over himself. The next day, Sakai, Shio, and Akari are stuck in class, passing the time with a silly childhood word game since the heavy rain keeps them from going outside. Suddenly, Sakai accidentally brings up Shio's name during the game, only to panic and quickly replace it with something else, and that single slip is enough to spark Akari's jealousy. Determined to even the score, Akari does everything she can to bait Sakai into saying her name, but none of her attempts work. To make matters worse, Shio later ends up saying Sakai's name, then smoothly changes it to a similar word and brushes it off as a joke, which only fuels Akari's competitive spirit even more. Fully focused on making Sakai say her name, Akari loses track of herself and ends up being the one who blurts out Sakai's name instead. Realizing her mistake too late, she quickly tries to copy Shio's excuse and claim it was a joke. Unfortunately for her, Shio immediately points out that repeating the same word isn't allowed, so with no way to escape, Akari accepts defeat. Sakai then steps in to decide her punishment, but instead of feeling satisfied, Shio grows unexpectedly jealous and secretly wishes she had been the one to lose instead. On his way home, Sakai mistakenly stumbles upon Akari reducing her clothing budget, causing her to throw garbage at him like a madwoman. After chasing him away, Akari squats down like a wet puppy, wondering why she always ends up clumsy in front of Sakai. Sakai soon returns, offering to share his umbrella with her, and she proceeds to roast him first. But as soon as he turns to leave, she stops him, acting like she is doing him a favor. On their way home, an awkward tension settles between them, and meanwhile, Shio is also on her way home, wishing she had seen Sakai. Just before Sakai and Akari turn the corner, Shio rushes off excitedly to buy snacks. In the meantime, Sakai continues to think about his awkward relationship with Akari while ogling her. He reminisces about their past and wonders when she stopped being the sweet little girl he remembers. His thoughts are interrupted when Akari starts complaining about petty things and slaps his face, telling him to stop staring at her like an idiot. Even though she tries to maintain the chill girl persona, deep down, Akari is trembling like a fish out of water. She soon notices the rain dripping on his shoulder and pulls him closer while roasting him as usual. She even offers him a handkerchief, but Sakai misunderstands and uses it to wipe her instead, earning him another round of scolding. After scolding him, She tries to take the umbrella, but they suddenly freeze when their hands brush against each other. After an eternity, they both scream out in shock, putting a little distance between themselves, but Sakai can't help but wonder why Akari is suddenly acting weird. To make things worse, she even holds the umbrella to match his height, an act that shocks Sakai because he doesn't remember her being so nice to him. Suddenly, the universe decides to play Cupid when a car zooms past, splashing water on them. Sakai reacts quickly, using his body to shield Akari, but instead of a thank you, he gets roasted and blamed for ogling at her non-existent clothing budget. She even gives him an insane slap, reinforcing his belief that one can never be in a rom-com with their childhood friends. Meanwhile, back home, Shio prepares to devour her snack buffet, but she wants to do it with Sakai. After staring out her window to look for him, she settles for sharing the snacks with Akari instead and sneaks into her room through the window as usual. Akari is so busy spiraling from the events earlier in the day with Sakai that she doesn't even notice a rat sneaking into her room. While staring at a picture of Sakai, she engages in a conversation with her dumb teddy, telling it about their clumsy umbrella experience. She screams in shock when she turns around to see Shio staring at her like an idiot. After the shocking ordeal, Akari scolds Shio for climbing in through the window instead of using the door. Shio quickly apologizes and offers her the snacks, trying to act like she didn't just uncover a massive secret, but she can't shake the worry from what she just witnessed. Akari hurriedly explains herself, insisting there was no special reason for staring at Sakai's picture. To prove her point, she immediately starts roasting him without mercy. However, despite her attempt to act chill, Shio notices the suspicious look on Akari's face and questions her about her true feelings for Sakai. Akari firmly denies it, but Shio remains unconvinced and continues to poke holes in her flimsy excuses. Akari, however, stays adamant to the end, repeatedly assuring her that she doesn't like Sakai. She even declares that she hates him and explodes in anger when Shio tries to smooth things over by calling Sakai a nice guy. Seeing that Shio has no plans of dropping the conversation, Akari decides to change the topic by showing her a funny video, but her search history about childhood crushes gives her away. In an attempt to turn off the phone, she mistakenly hits Shio on the head with it out of panic, and when she tries to make up for it by searching for a cold compress, a pile of Sakai's pictures suddenly pours out from the wardrobe, making things worse. Akari panics and starts conjuring up terrible excuses, but somehow, Shio manages to shoot every single one of them down. While looking at her ramble endlessly like a chattering box, Shio finally realizes that her worst fear has come true and Akari is truly a rival. She tries her best not to ask any questions, but remembering they made a pact never to keep secrets from each other, Shio decides to ask Akari if she truly likes Sakai. An eerie tension soon settles between them, and after a long, awkward silence, Akari angrily expresses how annoying and frustrating she feels towards Sakai. She explains that she hates how he refuses to treat her like a girl despite how much effort she puts into attracting his attention. After pouring out her heart, she falls silent, and Shio picks up from where she stopped, having experienced the same attitude from Sakai. She complains about receiving an ugly plush toy from him for her birthday, and like comrades in arms, the two of them begin to voice their dissatisfaction about Sakai. Unbeknownst to them, Sakai is right outside the door listening to their conversation, and he immediately turns to leave, realizing how much they dislike him. Suddenly, he rushes back to the door after hearing a scream from the girls, but to his shock, their clothes had gone on a temporary retreat. Akari, as usual, is the first to react, and she beats him to a pulp while Shio watches in horror and finally concludes that Akari must truly hate Sakai. Due to the terrible beating, Sakai is now convinced that no one can ever be in a stupid rom-com with their friends. The next day, Shio is busy reading a popular, overly dramatic manga about falling in love with a friend, while Sakai sleeps behind her like a log. After finishing it, she finds herself wishing she could fall in love with her own friend the same way. Before leaving, she quietly decides to start a rom-com with Sakai, no matter the cost. The following day, Sakai heads to school while thinking about how Shio and Akari had discovered his secret hobby. He was out dressed like a creepy otaku, grinning to himself while enjoying his secret hobby, rom-com manga, when they ran into him, wondering why he was acting suspiciously. They immediately start searching him, and instead of thinking of an escape, Sakai can't help but notice how the whole situation feels straight out of his favorite manga. After searching him for a while, the book falls out, and to his shock, Shio reveals that she has seen a couple of them hidden in his room. The two girls immediately proceed to roast him, especially Akari. As Sakai is still trying to figure out how to survive the day, Shio sneaks up behind and starts teasing him. She suggests they walk to school, but Sakai shuts it down, leaving her hanging. From that point on, he avoids her like expired milk, and by the end of the day, Shio looks completely crushed. Akari notices her gloomy mood and asks what is wrong. After hearing the story, she tells Shio to be bolder. Fueled by the advice, Shio decides to recreate a dramatic scene straight from her favorite series. Knowing Sakai usually cleans the gym after school, she hides in the equipment room, waiting for a classic reenactment. But Sakai had been told to clean the classroom instead. After what feels like an eternity, Shio falls asleep, but when she wakes up at night and tries to leave, the door is locked. To make things worse, her phone dies at the worst possible moment. After yelling for help and getting nothing but silence, she gives up and starts thinking about Sakai. Just then, the door swings open and Sakai rushes in, out of breath like he ran a marathon. When she asks how he found her, he simply says he knew, because they have been friends forever. Her heart skips, and memories of him always staying by her side come rushing back. While Sakai texts everyone that he has found her, Shio complains about how he treated her coldly. He quickly makes up a flimsy excuse, but the truth is that he felt embarrassed because they discovered his secret hobby. Shio laughs it off, and when she tries to jump on him as usual, they both tumble to the floor. Sakai tries to avoid the situation, but she grabs him to carry out her reenactment mission. Unfortunately, he sees right through it and quickly pinches her face jokingly before getting back up. While she dusts herself off, Sakai scolds himself mentally for missing such an opportunity. He believes that they can never get past the awkward friends tag between them. Shio soon snaps him out of his thoughts, and he decides to sit with her a little longer. He had noticed the disturbed look on her face and wanted them to talk a little. Shio denies it and lets him know that she only wants to be with him a little longer. Before he can react, the whole scene suddenly turns soapy, making him wonder if this is the legendary start to his long-awaited rom-com. To make matters worse, Shio starts acting shy, and he tells her to go back to her usual silliness. She ignores him and leans in further, resting on his shoulder, even commenting on how nice he smells. This whole thing almost gives Sakai a heart attack, making him believe that she might like him. Shio then declares what sounds like a confession before embracing him, but their sweet moment is ruined when Akari barges in and turns on the light. She embraces Shio, expressing how worried she had been, and then starts scolding Sakai for not texting her updates. Sakai defends himself, and Akari checks her phone only to realize that he had texted her earlier. Still, she demands to know what they have been doing alone for a whole 20 minutes. Shio quickly comes up with a flimsy excuse and rushes off to use the restroom. After she leaves, Akari bluntly asks Sakai if he likes Shio, and he explains that he likes her as a family member. Despite her insistence, he firmly denies any romantic involvement with Shio. That night, he turns around in bed, replaying the events with Shio in his head like a broken radio. The next day, he tries to avoid her, but can't help but admire her beauty in her summer uniform. When she catches him peeking, he jumps out and quickly fumbles an awkward greeting. On their way to school, Sakai continues to reel from Shio's beautiful appearance. To calm himself down, he starts talking about their gym moment, but Shio rushes off, leaving him spiraling. He finds himself deep in another silly imagination until Akari suddenly snaps him back to reality. She scolds him for having creepy thoughts about Shio, and he tries to calm her down, which makes her angrier. The whole thing makes him wonder if she is acting this way because she has feelings for him. The thought of it sends him into another insane manga harem fantasy. Back at school, Shio is having an equally miserable day after avoiding Sakai. Akari notices her and feels frustrated when she realizes Sakai is the reason. Despite that, she further asks if something happened between them in the gym. Meanwhile, Sakai is in the bathroom hyping himself up like the main character. The moment he hears his name, he sprints over to eavesdrop. Unfortunately, he catches Shio declaring that she could never end up in a rom-com with him. With his pride shattered, Sakai retreats immediately to preserve what little dignity he has left. Shio chases after him, but he pretends everything is fine, while struggling to smile. He quickly bolts off in tears, realizing his morning happiness was completely imaginary. Shio feels awful too, knowing things were finally starting to change between them. Akari, meanwhile, enjoys the chaos like a true green tea schemer. That night, Akari is still annoyed over the whole Sakai and Shio mess. She steps out of the bath, only for Sakai to suddenly walk in, earning him a punch. Turns out his family came over with Shio's family for a drinking party. Moments later, Akari steps out, and Sakai follows to check on her. He apologizes for earlier, but she responds with her usual cold tone. Just as he is about to leave, she stops him and asks if he still remembers the promise they made. Sakai dodges the question by teasing her, reminding her how she used to drag them to the bathroom because she was scared of the dark. After scolding him for mocking her, Akari thinks back on how he swore never to leave her. She assumes he has forgotten, only for Sakai to confirm he remembers. She then bluntly asks when he plans to marry her so they can stay together forever, and before Sakai's brain can catch up, she laughs it off as a joke. Right on cue, Shio stumbles in drunk, followed by her mom, who explains that she got tipsy purely off vibes without touching a drop. In her drunken state, she teases Sakai about his red face, leaving him completely flustered, until Akari taps him from behind, and they start bickering like always. Thanks for watching till the end, and comment Sakai is a simp to confuse those losers who didn't stay till the end.